The original Home Alone films are a holiday classic, aren't they? The lessons learned, the cartoonish traps that would definitely kill you in real life, it just fills one's heart with Christmas cheer. I had a box set of the first 4 films as a child and played the first 2 every year. The third one would sometimes come on when I was bored, but the fourth, I watched that once and never touched it again.
Embarrassing!
Home Alone 4 Taking Back the House is a 2002 made-for-television film with Mike Weinberg taking over as Kevin McCallister. There's our first red flag. Our main actor has been replaced. I just remember this movie being very cringeworthy and trying to be all hip with the kids like this is Teen Witch or something, but maybe I'm judging it too harshly from my memory. Let's find out. Without further ado, on with the review.
One selection box god. I'm the selection box god. All these other boys fraud. They just eat the one bar, but I eat them all. I'm the selection box god.
The film opens with that familiar Home Alone logo, but we soon learn that the McCallister family has been recast, including our main character, Kevin. His mother, now portrayed by Claire Carey, walks in on him watching old home videotapes, as his parents have divorced during the past year. Kevin asks his mother why his parents divorced, and she tries to explain it away by saying that it wasn't any one person or thing that caused their relationship to break down. While it is not exactly a harmful representation of this kind of circumstance, it is very 2000s kids movie style, and did make me cringe a bit. We see Kevin get bullied by his older siblings, Megan and Buzz of course, but from what I remember, Kevin definitely has more siblings. An article that I found by Collider confirms this. Kevin has 4 siblings, brothers Buzz and Jeff and sisters Megan and Linny. This lack in continuity is quite jarring when you watch the films consecutively, and the McCallister home just feels a lot less alive. The children's father, Peter, comes over to talk to their mother, Kate. He tells her that he plans on marrying his new girlfriend, Natalie, and that he wants the children to spend Christmas with him to get to know her. Kate understandably doesn't take this very well, as they haven't even been separated a year. This really feels like a gross mischaracterization of the McCallisters. It's like watching an adaptation of a fanfiction instead. Where's Catherine O'Hara when you need her? The children turn down this offer, and Kate leaves on some errands while Megan goes out with her friends. As Kevin is now left alone with Buzz, he gets bullied into doing chores, something Kate doesn't quite take seriously.
Well, you don't mean that.
Yes, I do. I wish I was an only child.
Well, as I was saying, you originally had 2 other siblings, which have now vanished into thin air, so let's just watch out for the next film.
Please, just give us a break. Please just give us a break.
Anyways, I think this is supposed to mirror the whole I made my family disappear bit in the first Home Alone film, but it just doesn't have the same vibe. This spurs Kevin to accept his father's invitation to spend Christmas with him, which feels a bit petty but is fitting for a child. We see that Peter and Natalie live in a high-tech mansion, at least by early 2000s standards, featuring voice control and an excessive amount of unnecessary space. It turns out that Marv, now played by French Stewart, has been spying on Peter McCallister this whole time. He and his wife and new accomplice, Vera, played by Missy Pyle, discuss their plans to kidnap a visiting prince instead of just robbing the place. In this film, Marv seems to take on a role similar to that of Joe Pesci's Harry in the first 2 films, while Vera acts as the goofy counterpart. So, Kevin arrives at his dad's house and learns to use a remote to control it. I think I would have enjoyed this kind of room as a kid, but I probably would have gotten bored eventually. The next day, Natalie and Peter let Kevin open one of his presents, a remote-controlled plane. This actually seems to be inspired by Home Alone 3, where the protagonist is gifted a remote-controlled car. I'm sure this piece of tech won't be used against Marv and Vera later. When Peter and Natalie go to work, they leave Kevin with Mr. Prescott, the butler portrayed by Eric Avari. They do a whole ominous strings bit with this guy a few times, but Kevin seems to get over it quickly, and asks the butler to make him a chocolate milkshake. Kevin ventures into the house's security room and is reprimanded by Prescott before chatting with the housekeeper, Molly, about the impressive smart features of the mansion. After Molly departs for shopping, Marv and Vera clumsily make their way inside to scout the place ahead of their prince kidnapping the next day. Unbeknownst to them, Kevin recognizes the pair from a distance. Somehow, Marv got his hands on a remote for the house, but Kevin lures them into the bathroom before flooding it with the criminals trapped inside. Due to the sheer amount of water, they are thrown down the stairs, and Marv recognizes Kevin before making vague threats and leaving. Of course, Kevin is blamed when his family returns home, and they do not give him the chance to explain himself.
Stand up! Stand up!
It appears that someone has been helping Marv break in, and that person appears to be Mr. Prescott, as the security cameras were turned off during the break-in. Kevin tries to tell Molly about this, but she doesn't seem to take him seriously, which he did expect. Peter and Kevin spend the evening decorating a Christmas tree, but they discover that Natalie has ordered decorators to redo it overnight. To make up for this, Peter suggests that Kevin open another gift early, a set of bugging and listening devices for kids. Real toys from the 2000s, by the way. Kate, Megan and Buzz come to drop off some of Kevin's things, and that night, Peter and Natalie go to pick up the royal family for the prince's visit. Is Natalie really that important? Is she a noblewoman or something? The film never explains her significance, and we're just supposed to accept her status without question. Kevin sees Prescott let Marv and Vera into the house disguised as caterers, and Kevin locks him in the freezer when he doesn't heed his warnings. Marv then attempts to test the kidnapping plan by rigging a bag to the door, but Kevin opens the door, launching Marv and Vera out of the window. It turns out that the royal family is actually snowed in and can't arrive until the following day. However, the burglars and Kevin create such a commotion that it nearly ruins the party. Once again, Kevin is blamed for the chaos, and the traps for the burglars really don't get much better than this. The next day, while Peter and Natalie leave to collect the royal family, Kevin witnesses Marv and Vera breaking in again. Suspecting Prescott's involvement, Kevin locks him in the wine cellar. However, the real inside man then reveals herself, Molly, Marv's mother. Yeah, I would be more suspicious of Prescott if he wasn't seen napping on the job at the beginning of the film, so I didn't believe it was him. With about 15 minutes left of the film to go, Kevin escapes from the wine cellar via the dumbwaiter, and also uses it as a weapon against Marv. He manages to knock the criminal couple to the floor with crockery, and traps Molly in the lift. Sensing something is wrong, Peter rushes home to check on Kevin without Natalie. In short, Kevin tricks Marv into pulling his wardrobe onto him, tricks Vera with recordings of Marv supposedly insulting her, and gives Marv a 2000s nutshot with his remote-controlled plane. This culminates in Marv and Vera falling down the stairs, and Kevin trapping them in a revolving bookcase. Yeah, these traps suck. Kevin's entire family arrives just in time, and Marv, Vera and Molly are promptly arrested. Prescott resigns from his position, Peter chooses to reunite with his family, and all of this unfolding dramatically in front of the royals, who surprisingly decide to spend Christmas with the McCallisters instead. So, what do I think of Home Alone 4 after all these years? It's about what you would expect from a made-for-television sequel to a beloved franchise. Its biggest flaw is undoubtedly its lack of heart. The 3 films that preceded it were written and produced by John Hughes, whose absence is keenly felt in this film. Its change of actors is definitely questionable, and it doesn't help that Marv and Kevin look nothing like their original counterparts. One reason for this may be the original actors did not wish to participate. According to an article by In the Mood magazine, Daniel Stern did not approve of this film, calling its screenplay an insult, total garbage. It's definitely a far cry from even the 3rd film in the franchise. Another significant point of contention with this film is its lack of continuity. Aside from the McCallister family inexplicably shrinking, Kevin appears much younger than he was in Lost in New York, despite much of the dialogue suggesting that Taking Back the House is a direct sequel to that film. Did Kevin drink from the fountain of youth or something? Not only that, but wouldn't Kevin's parents at least heard of the wet bandits by this point? Why wouldn't Peter believe him? Given that in-universe this is the same Marv as before, wouldn't the McCallisters recognize him? It doesn't make any sense. The whole divorced parents getting back together was so predictable too. Kate and Peter being separated for less than a year, Natalie's superficiality, Kevin's innocent wisdom shtick. The whole subplot seemed like such a waste of time to me. Overall, I think Home Alone 4 is a film you can easily skip this holiday season, unless you're in the mood for some particularly poorly written 2000s cheese. The traps that the franchise is known for are crammed into the final 20 minutes and are incredibly lackluster, and you don't care enough about the characters to see their journey on screen. I'd just stick to the first two films instead. Well, that's all for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching. Happy holidays!
I'm the selection box god. All these other boys fraud. They just eat the one bar, but I eat them all. I'm the selection box god. All these other boys fraud. They just eat the one bar, but I eat them all. I'm the selection box god.